What's up, everyone? This is BigPowner, and I'm going to be attempting to craft a really big damage boost for the Ice Shot. I have um, two influences that I'm going to be adding for this. The main reason why I'm doing this is because I can pretty much pick up all my resistances in other places in my build, and I can get a lot of damage through two mods on this. This is kind of going to be like, I'm hoping I get lucky, and there's more than one way that I can get lucky. Since they're both suffixes, the -9 to cold resistances, obviously it's a 9% debuff to their resistances, and shocking conflux, which doesn't sound as good when you just look at it as it actually is. I've explained this before, but the uptime for the shocking conflux is actually much higher than what it appears to be, and the reason why is because it's up for 3 of 8 seconds, but the shock when it's applied lasts for 2 seconds, so you have 5 second uptime, basically 3 second downtime. So you're talking about like, I don't know, like somewhere between like 60-70% uptime, which, since it turns all of your cold damage into work, makes your cold damage work as electricity damage. It makes it so that you have really high shock values, which means it's a huge damage amplification. So it is a massive damage increase. Um, the issue is if we miss the initial slam and there's nothing that we can do with it, then we're in kind of a hard situation for the crafting. The reason why is because we have an electricity element and we have a cold element. So we can try to craft this using, well, I would be using, the metallic, the frigid, and pristine because I need life on my helm. Um, that's kind of like a requirement for me. Like, I want the damage, but I don't want to completely sacrifice all of my defensive stats. That's just not worth it to me. But I do really want this, and like I was saying about the suffixes, if we wind up in a situation where um, there's an open slot for us to craft, we can do suffixes cannot be changed, and then we can wipe the prefixes. If there's an open suffix, we could immediately craft on multiple modifiers, add 2 stats to the top, the bottom would be full, and then we would slam on 1 extra, which is like four exalts for the crafts, and then the two crafts we'd be picking would be cheap. We'd just go with percent life, and then we'd go with dual mod life. You wouldn't have a ton. You could have a maximum of I think like 90 life, 70 top on that, and okay, so 86 max life. So not really big life, but that would be a realistic way to get on some decent stats with a decent amount of life with having two really big damage buffs on it. So not the cheapest craft. If I wind up getting lucky, it's not the most expensive craft. We are using the Awakener's Orb. I haven't gone ahead and qualityed this up with perfect fossils. I actually have my syndicate set up to start adding quality to items. So if I get something nice, I'm going to settle with the 28% quality on this. If I want more than that because it winds up really good, I might go for a corruption. I'm going to kind of have to see. A lot of people have been asking about stuff that they can do with this build. I did put out a lot of content last season. I feel like a lot of people are more this season just wanting to have a lot more damage. So I'm going to try and do some min-max stuff that is going to give options. Plus, we lost some of the big damage options from last season. So I am going to be doing the build a little bit different. Obviously, every season stuff changes. So, directions for builds are going to wind up changing also. So anyways, I'm going to slam this and hope that I get lucky. Remember, when you're using the Awakener Orb, you click first on the item that you want to destroy. It explains this. Right click this item, then left click the item you wish to take the influence from, then left click on the item of the same class that you want it to be applied to. This base, you just need to have your influence on it. I've gone ahead and gotten an Ice Shot area of effect. It's not even tier 1. There was like no selection of Ice Shot mods on the market, and like the one that was on there for increased damage was like crap, and it was 10 exalts, and it's honestly just not worth that to me. That's just way ridiculously overpriced. Um, so, and on an item that, if the initial part messes up, then I could wind up being in a difficult crafting spot, and I'm going to want to just move on to another base. So, without further ado, let's hope that I get lucky. Okay, let's see. Hmm. Okay, so I have physical damage to spells, which does nothing for me. The cold damage, cold damage taken, physical taken as cold is actually pretty good. The bottom's good. I have no open slots. This puts me in kind of a rough spot because the thing is I'm not going to use it as it is. If I wind up landing in a null and I ideally hit probably the life, um, I'll craft on life and this will be usable because 39 is just really low. If I don't hit, as long as I don't hit, as long as I don't hit the shocking conflux or the negative cold resistance, I can still work with it. So we're gonna go ahead and annul it. Just don't take my shocking or my negative cold res. Oh, and of course it takes it. All right, this is gonna wind up being a lot longer craft. Unfortunately, I had really bad luck on this craft. Obviously, I had, only a 33% chance of that annul orb removing one of the only two things that would have made it so that now I can't continue working with this base. Literally, if it would have removed anything off the top, I could have done, there's guaranteed stuff I could have done to it. If we removed the dex, then I could have beast crafted prefix to suffix. There was literally so much that I could have done with this to try to fix it, but unfortunately, I had really bad luck on this craft, so I'm going to have to resort to fossils. Like I said, trying to get the three things together is not going to be easy. It's not going to be cheap. Um, but realistically, it's going to give me the best chance of getting my high life roll, the shocking conflux, and the cold, negative to cold resistance together. They aren't rare mods, which is a bright side to this for the crafting. Shocking conflux is only a 500 stat, um, and the negative cold resistance to enemies is only a 250 stat, and then obviously regular HP with a pristine fossil is going to be a pretty common roll. So I still have hope for this. The downside is, since I'm going to be using metallic fossils and frigid fossils, there's a high likelihood that I get damage to spells, which is an undesirable mod. So that's going to make it harder to roll. So I have the advantage of it being easy to roll the desired mods, but I have the disadvantage of it having other crappy mods that are, of those types that are also going to be common rolls on there, because I believe those two rolls are going to be just as common. Yeah, they're 500 stats on the cold and lightning damage. If I wind up with one bad stat, and I have, well, honestly, if I wound up with two bad stats, I would still be happy with this. Like, if I got really big life and those two stats, I would be pretty happy. Just because that's what I really need out of my Helm. The other nice thing is, since I'm rolling for the the percent physical damage taken is cold, the -9 resistance, that is actually not a bad thing, because I can wind up using Taste of Hate with it, which diverts some of the physical damage that I take uh, into my cold damage, which this gives us up to 20% physical damage. That's extra cold damage. This is a good quick swap flask to switch out from your Dying Sun to, which, if you're taking some of your physical damage as cold damage, and this is reducing cold damage taken and it's overcapping it, which works really well with the Zodiac, as we can see right here. 12 well, we got to wait for it to rotate back on, but I'll show you what I'm talking about. So 12,509 bumps me up 1,300 evasion. So very good targeted damage flask that we have here um, as an alternative for the Dying Sun when you don't need the extra projectiles for wave clearing. So there's a quick little tip right there to make your character more tanky and do more damage for bossing. If you want to see the effect of it as far as damage, 2554, it adds like, about 10% increased damage. Maybe a little bit less. Um, anyways, well, actually, it might be amped a little bit more by the increased 277. Where we at? 316. 21. So like 8% increased damage, which isn't bad for display damage. So that's actually going to be a lot more. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed watching this. This is pretty much the result you should expect. You're going to probably wind up with something like I had. Hopefully it'll be a 5 stat, so you'll have more choices, more chances to get something that's good and usable. Like if I would have had one open suffix in those two things, then I could have beastcrafted and had a guaranteed chance to open up a top slot. So if I had one thing that was pretty good or two things up there that were pretty good, then moving something down, I would have been able to just craft on what I needed up there. So there are a lot of chances that you could wind up turning this right away into something that's going to be really nice for you. But there's also the chance that you wind up like me and you just get hard screwed. I was on the unluckier end because I didn't get any extra chances outside of the Nullment Orb, and I got unlucky on my Nullment Orb. So this is pretty much the most unlucky case that you could get. I have no options beside annulling, and then my Null Orb misses in a I only had a 1/3 chance of actually failing on that annul orb. So I wound up about as unlucky as you could get. Probably a lot of you will wound up way more lucky. Some of you will wind up like really, really lucky. And some of you are going to be as unlucky as me. Thanks for watching. Peace.